For generations, that mountain was the inspiration of our people. Everything good came out of the mountain. The rains, the clouds, the fog. I grew up in the countryside, and as a small young girl, there was a huge tree that was near our homestead, and next to our tree was a stream. My mother told me to not collect firewood from the fig tree by the stream. I said, why? And she said, because that tree is a tree of God. I didn't know what she was talking about. But I would run there and collect water for my mother. The stream actually came out of the ground, gushing up from the belly of the earth. Now, sometimes there would be thousands upon thousands of frog eggs. They are in black, they are brown, they are white, they're beautiful. I didn't know they were frog eggs. I would just see these beads, and I would put my little hands underneath and try to lift them in the belief that I could put them around my neck and decorate myself. And I would spend hours trying to lift them up. Here I am, and I am so small, and I'm playing with frog eggs and tadpoles. Between the fig tree and the stream, it was beautiful. I guess it was a tree of God. In the 60s, I go back to the place I had grown up, and I discover now the place of God was in a church. A stone building had been put up. That's where God was. So this tree no longer called for the respect, it no longer inspired awe, it no longer was protected. They had cut it. And sure enough, the stream had also disappeared. And if the stream dies, the frog eggs, the tadpoles, the frogs, and everything else that lived in those waters disappears. And we can no longer go there and fetch the water. If you're going to shed blood because of our land, we will. We have a government in this country that is actually overseeing the destruction of forests and the grabbing of public land. Today, we are faced with a challenge that calls for a shift in our thinking so that humanity stops threatening its life support system. We are called to assist the earth to heal her wounds, and in the process, heal our own. took me a long time. I had to go to college to eventually make the connection between the fig tree and the stream. When the rains fall in this kind of a forest, it is caught by the millions of leaves, and every one of them is holding some water. Yeah, if you listen, you can hear the drops of water. There. Now, when water reaches this deep, moist, fertile soil, it percolates into the underground, and it goes and feeds the underground water reservoirs way deep in the belly of the earth. And those reservoirs feed our waters. When you think of how long my fig tree stands there undisturbed, you can clearly see how the roots would go deep into the underground. The water will come up along the roots until they hit a weak place above the ground. The weak place was where my stream was. People do not know how much they depend on the survival of this ecosystem. So when people say they want to come in and cultivate, or they want to come in and grow commercial plantations, I know that they are digging their own graves.
Tana de kaire tu takanini tamudu tamugima ta oyuri gugueni. Goko kwali kwega muno. Tondu kwali miti yetagwo migumo, mikuyu na miti mingi ta miuna mikuigo na mitundu. Na hindi iyo ri ni kwali kwega muno tondu ni gwakigitite miti kaiyura thini ya bururi.
Zamani kabla wazungu hawajakuja huko kulikuwa na miti yetu ya kienyeji. Na maji ilikuwa nyingi sana, kwa maana kila mtu alikuwa unapeleka maji. Tukaendelea hivi, vile watu wanavyoongezeka, kujenga, kulima, miti tukaanza kupunguza. Na nchi nayo ikaendelea na kukauka. Mambo yakaanza kuharibika, kwa maana kuna vizazi vingine ambavyo havikuona visima vile vilivyokuwa vya zamani, vile vilivyowekwa na Mungu. Around mid-1970s, I was already in the University of Nairobi as a lecturer. I was doing research in the field, and I observed a lot of deforestation and soil loss. I was hearing many rural women complain about the fact that they did not have firewood. They were also complaining that they did not have enough water. They had put too much of their land on cash crops like coffee and tea. And people were not having enough firewood to be able to cook the kind of traditional food crops that required a lot of energy to cook. But now, without energy, they were changing their cooking habits to cook highly refined foods. And highly refined foods were very rich in carbohydrates, sometimes 100% carbohydrates, and no proteins and vitamins. And children were suffering from diseases associated with malnutrition. When the women started saying that they did not have enough firewood, that's what gave me an idea. Why not plant trees? I asked the women. Let's plant trees. And the women said, well, we would plant trees, but we don't know how. And that started the whole story of, yeah, okay, let's learn how to plant trees. We approached the women and tried to make a relationship between environmental problems and their daily problems.
Habari zenu? Nzuri. Haya, Dorika. Elizabeth. Habari zenu? Nzuri. Ndio.
I had her talking about the whole country. It's going to be a desert. And she said, to improve the environment, all what we need, and we can do it, is just to plant trees.
And we called the foresters. They came and they talked to women. They did not really see why I was trying to teach women how to plant trees. Because to plant a tree, you need a diploma. I said, well, I don't think you need a diploma to plant a tree. Initially, we tried to give them seeds, and then we decided against it. We said if we give them seeds, they'll become dependent on us. We said collect seeds and try to propagate the trees of the area where you are. We said if you plant a tree and the tree survives, the movement will compensate you. Very small amount of money. It amounts to about 4 US cents per tree that survives. And this motivated the women. And so they just started very, very, very small, very, very small. And before too long, they started showing each other. And before we knew, the tree nurseries just started mushrooming.
Na ithuĩ twarĩ a mbere ta groove ya community kwambĩrĩria kũgĩa na nursery ya mĩtĩ, na hatiarĩ kamũtĩ ona kamwe, kwarĩ kĩharo, tondũ matiarĩ sure atĩ ũguo tũroiga nĩ tũkũhanda mĩtĩ rĩ, atĩ no tũhande, tondũ ti mũtugo wa Gĩkũyũ atumia kũhanda mĩtĩ. Kwoguo rĩrĩa twambĩrĩirie kũhanda mĩtĩ rĩ, ithuĩ ta atumia nĩ tuonire nĩ ta a breakthrough gũtuĩka ithuĩ nĩ tũratuĩka associated na mĩtĩ.
Mĩtĩ nĩ ĩrehaga mbura, na akorwo no ũndũ rĩu rĩrĩa kũhuruta no guo rĩ, rĩera nĩ rĩkoragwo rĩgĩtũteithia. Nĩ ndĩgiragia tĩri ũikũrũkio nĩ kĩguũ, tondũ mahuti magwa rĩ, mbura ona ĩngiura ndĩngĩkua tĩri.
Khoya na khora kiniti kino se khoya na rura khota nkane mubona nena byarandi kamatunda buli sindu mana namanya ati kiniti kiri kimirayi.
Ona ici kuma 1987 rĩ nĩguo ndahandire kamũtitũ gaka gakwa mĩtĩ green belt yoka, na mĩtĩ nĩ kũndeithia ndahanda thĩinĩ ya mũgũnda, ũngĩhanda kinya harĩa ũguo guothe na gũkũ. Akorwo nĩ ta kũu kwa ng'ombe, indo ta icio cia mwako itithumbũraga, ngĩambĩrĩria kũheana ya mwako.
Trees are wonderful. They grow. And as you see them grow, you want to plant too. And before we knew, we had thousands of people doing the same thing. It was now communities empowering each other to plant trees for their own needs. The more I looked into the environment, and the more I looked into the problems that people were complaining about, especially women, the more I understood that what we were complaining about were the symptoms, and that we needed to understand the causes of those symptoms. Why did we deforest our country?